Traditionally, From Software designs its games to be played with a controller with mouse and keyboard support that usually leaves a lot to be desired. But when you play as Ironeye, a class entirely built around the bow, and considering that you can freely aim in third person, the mouse quite logically gains an advantage, although it's a bit more complicated than that. The main benefit is being able to easily aim for enemy weak points, which deals bonus damage, and more importantly, apply hitstun, a brief stagger. And honestly, you can really feel it when you have an Ironeye constantly staggering enemies and interrupting their attacks. That said, some enemies have fairly high hitstun thresholds, so it's not always viable, but when it works, it shows. In those cases, the usual approach is to close the distance and use a triple shot. You might think that autolock would be enough here, but in practice, free aiming makes it much easier to land all three arrows, especially against faster, highly mobile enemies. That said, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. For example, some large enemies have their autolock point directly on their head, so free aiming doesn't really offer an advantage for regular shots in those cases, though it can still help with heavy shots under certain conditions. And of course, mouse and keyboard support is questionable. Dropping an item from your inventory is done by pressing the number 2 key. Just saying. Still, you get used to it, it's not the end of the world. It's also very important to note that Ironeye fires slightly faster than the other characters only when not manually aiming, so it's not just viable but actually necessary to sometimes rely on auto aim when landing a weak point shot isn't guaranteed. Ironeye is probably one of the strongest characters in the game already, even without free aiming, but I have to say I really enjoyed playing him this way, especially after having spent thousands of hours playing shooters. I really like From Software to add native gyro support, at least in this game and future ones, because the more modern aiming system they finally implemented in Nightreign is genuinely interesting. Neo, which sits somewhere between a hack and slash and a Souls-like, has been doing this since its first game, and ranged weapons there, including firearms, are very strong without ever feeling overpowered. I think it would be interesting for From to keep moving in this direction going forward. So, do I recommend switching to keyboard and mouse when playing Ironeye? Honestly, if you're already comfortable using a mouse in other games, then yeah. Even though I personally find a controller more comfortable for melee-focused characters, with a purely ranged character, it's been worth it for me, both in terms of enjoyment and overall effectiveness. Is it strictly necessary? No, you can still aim manually with a joystick, and with Steam input, you can even use gyro aiming by emulating mouse input, which I've also tested and works quite well. That said, if you plan on playing this character a lot, it's probably worth at least considering practicing with mouse and keyboard. I'll leave you with a Souls-like ranking I made a while back, and if you enjoyed this video, this is YouTube, blah blah blah, you know what to do.